barefoot elevated split squats have become very popular nowadays. I keep seeing them all over social media, and there's some really good things about them, and then there's some things that can go terribly wrong. So the height of the step is going to be key. We want to make sure that we're in a primarily upright posture and we can control the motion. Again, we're looking for good movement. Sometimes people will utilize a bench and it's just too high for the client and they're not getting that full hip extension. They're not able to get that foot in a good position. So making sure that you have the correct height of a step is going to be key. I tend not to like benches too much just because there's a lot of cushion to them and they tend to be really high, so it's not a good starting position for a lot of people. Again, your foot and ankle mobility is going to come into play with this particular one. So many times I get people saying that my client can't do it because of their big toe or their foot. So we went over some problem solving techniques in the soft tissue and mobility section. But again, if you have a client that is having a big toe issue and that things aren't progressing, you need to know when to refer out. So again, this is going to challenge that mobility and range of motion of the foot, ankle, and the actual toes. So keep that in mind if you have a client that is having some issues with that. This might not be an appropriate progression for them. So again, we're looking for vertical shin, vertical thigh, and sometimes if you get too far out, you're going to get into that lumbar extension, and that's not what we want. So we're going to go down into that split squat. This is a good height for me. I'm able to control the movement. I think I'm at that vertical thigh, vertical shin. So again, we don't want to be too far out and then I'm already getting into that lumbar extension. If we're too far up, again, people might not be able to control the movement. So then we can go through the holding positions again, utilizing press out, front hold, and so forth. All right, so benches like these are going to take out that component that we talked about that might be a limiting factor when it comes to a step. So that foot ankle mobility along with that toe mobility is going to be taken out of here because your foot's just going to rest on top of it. So I don't have to have as active of a foot still going down into that nice split squat position. So that eliminates some of the issues you might have with a step. So again, we can go through the same loading patterns, and if we are going to go unilateral, keep in mind we're still loading that back leg. So the one that's positioned on the bench, we'll go down into that if we're shouldering or if we're holding a kettlebell down by our side. So concepts still apply. This is just going to eliminate some of the issues that people find when it comes to the big toe, foot, or ankle. So you'll also see us raise the front foot. What this is going to do is really increase the demands of range of motion as well as the need for increased mobility of that rear leg. So there are higher demands here when we go into that split squat. So really feeling it in the back leg, just a stretch and driving back up. So again, same concepts apply here. We're still creating tension upon that ultimate sandbag. We're gripping the ground with our foot and pressing the ball of foot into the ground. So just keep in mind the directional components when you have people go through these split squats progressions, what the demands actually are upon the body. So this one's a little bit more advanced just because the need for increased overall mobility, and it's actually challenging more range of motion.